Ever imagine using like some kind of medieval practice,
Mm.
about turning lead into gold as a guide for like personal growth?
Yeah,
That's kind of what we're diving into today.
sounds intense.
It is actually pretty fascinating. It's Carl Jung's interpretation of alchemy
Oh, why?
as a symbolic roadmap for like psychological transformation.
Okay,
So we've got some excerpts from Jung's work that we're going to unpack today.
cool.
And luckily, I've got our expert here to kind of help
Yeah,
us
yeah.
break it all down.
When you think about alchemy, it's easy to just think about,
Yeah.
like medieval alchemists
Right.
hunched over bubbling cauldrons,
Of course.
trying to, create the philosopher's stone and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
But Jung saw something way deeper in these alchemical pursuits.
So he wasn't like dismissing the whole like historical context of alchemy or anything?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He acknowledged the historical pursuit of literally transmuting base metals into gold. But he believed those alchemists were also like projecting their own inner psychological processes
Oh, interesting.
onto the physical world.
Okay.
Like their quest for transmutation
Yeah.
wasn't just about material transformation.
Mm-hmm.
It was about self-realization,
Okay.
even if they didn't really realize it.
So they were working on themselves without even knowing it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So where does this whole idea of psychological transformation come in?
Well, Jung saw this like direct parallel
Okay.
between the stages of alchemical work, what they call the opus alchemicum,
Okay. Yeah.
and the psychological journey of individuation,
Okay.
which is like the process of becoming a unique whole individual.
So like they accidentally stumbled upon a roadmap for the psyche.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
So how does this roadmap actually work? Can you like walk us through some of these stages?
absolutely. Let's start with like the first stage in Negredo,
Okay.
which is known as the blackening.
A black.
Yeah, it represents like the darkness before the dawn,
Oh, okay.
a time of chaos and dissolution.
Okay.
Imagine a time when you were going through like a major challenge, like
Mm.
maybe a job loss or the end of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like your world was falling apart.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
At some point, it's not a fun place to be.
Right.
So that difficult time would be like a Nigredo experience.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
psychologically,
Okay.
Negredo corresponds to confronting your shadow self,
Oh.
the darker hidden parts of your personality
Right.
that we often try to ignore.
Yeah. We kind of just shove them down.
Exactly.
Give them a look at them.
Think of those times when you react in a way that even surprises you.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are like glimpses of your shadow self.
So those less than ideal reactions
Yeah.
could actually be opportunities for growth.
Precisely.
Interesting.
Jung believed facing our shadow selves head on,
Yeah.
as uncomfortable as it might be, is absolutely crucial for growth.
So you're saying that acknowledging our own personal lead, like our flaws and imperfections, is the first step toward transforming into the gold of a more complete self.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
So once you've like faced that darkness,
Right.
the next alchemical stage is albedo.
Okay.
The
The whitening.
Yeah, and this is where light and clarity start to emerge from the chaos.
Okay, so after wrestling with those shadow selves, we start to find some peace and understanding.
Exactly.
I like where this is going.
Think of it like this. You've gone through a tough time. You face some hard truths about yourself.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see things more clearly.
I...
Albedo symbolizes integration,
Okay.
learning to accept all parts of yourself, the light and the dark.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like those challenging Nigredo experiences actually pave the way for a deeper understanding of ourselves.
Exactly.
So what comes after this integration phase? What's the next step on this alchemical journey?
Well, you've confronted your shadow self
Right.
in Negredo,
Right,
begun to integrate those darker aspects in albedo.
right.
And now we move on to citronitis, the yellowing.
The yellowing.
Yeah,
So we're going for gold here,
Yeah.
but we're stopping at yellow first.
that's right. And it's an important stop
Okay.
because citronitis is all about spiritual awakening,
Oh, wow.
developing wisdom and deeper self-awareness.
So things are definitely looking up.
Yeah.
We've come out of the darkness.
Yep.
Made peace with our shadow selves. And now we're having a spiritual awakening.
That's right.
This is making me think about the concept of finding your purpose. Would you say that's part of this citronitis stage?
Absolutely. This stage is about moving beyond just surviving
Right.
and starting to truly thrive.
Yeah.
You're gaining a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world.
It sounds like this is where we really start to see the gold emerging from the lead. But I'm guessing there's more to the process.
There is.
What comes after the spiritual awakening?
Yeah, there's one more stage to go.
Okay.
This is where we finally reach that alchemical gold we've been talking about.
Okay.
Rubedo, the reddening.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The grand finale,
Yeah.
but reddening.
Yeah.
What does that symbolize in our psychological journey?
I would have thought this is where we'd see like the gold appear.
Well, think of it this way. Gold isn't just yellow.
Yeah.
It has that warm reddish glow.
Okay.
That's the rubedo. It represents achieving the Philosopher's Stone, that legendary goal of the alchemists.
Right, right.
But in Jungian terms,
Yeah.
it's about realizing the self, bringing all aspects of the psyche into a unified whole.
So this is the combination of all those previous stages.
Yes.
The true goals we've been working towards.
Exactly.
We faced our shadows, integrated our light and dark sides,
Yeah,
and even experienced a spiritual awakening.
that's right.
What does that final integration actually feel like? Imagine a deep sense of inner peace and fulfillment.
Wow.
Not just happiness, but like a profound alignment with your true self.
Okay.
It's like all the pieces of who you are have finally come together.
Yeah.
You're no longer striving to become someone else or trying to fit into a mold.
Right.
You're simply fully yourself.
Wow, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
It's like reaching a level of self-acceptance and wholeness that most of us only dream of.
And it's important to remember that this isn't like a one-time achievement.
Right.
It's an ongoing process,
Okay.
a continuous refinement of the self.
Gotcha.
But by understanding these stages,
yeah.
you can start to see the patterns in your own life and recognize the opportunities for growth that each challenge presents.
That's really empowering.
Yeah.
Makes those inevitable ups and downs of life feel a little less daunting, knowing they're all part of this larger process of becoming who we're meant to be.
Exactly.
But before we move on, I'm curious about something. If those alchemists were like projecting their inner world onto their experiments, did any of them ever actually succeed in creating physical gold?
Well, that's a question that has puzzled historians and scientists for centuries.
I bet.
But from Jung's perspective, whether or not they achieved physical transmutation wasn't really the point.
Okay.
The true transformation was the inner work they were doing,
Yeah.
the psychological gold they were forging within themselves.
So they might not have cracked the code of turning lead into gold in a literal sense, but they inadvertently created this profound psychological roadmap
Exactly.
that we can still benefit from today.
And that's why Jung found alchemy so compelling.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about material transformation, it was about the potential for spiritual and psychological evolution.
I gotta say, this is pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
But we're only scratching the surface here, right?
Yeah, we've laid the groundwork.
Okay.
But there's so much more to explore,
Okay.
especially when it comes to Jung's analysis of archetypes and how they tie into all of this.
Archetypes. Okay. I'm intrigued. This is where we get into like the realm of ancient symbols and hidden meanings, right?
Well, Jung believed that certain recurring patterns in the human psyche, what he called archetypes,
Okay.
were reflected in these alchemical texts.
All right.
He saw them as universal symbolic representations of human experiences
Okay.
that can provide incredible insights into our personal journeys.
I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Yeah.
So these archetypes are like universal blueprints for human behavior and experiences that have been around for centuries. And Jung saw them playing out in alchemy.
Exactly. And just like the alchemists worked with different materials to create the Philosopher's Stone,
Yeah.
we all have these archetypal energies within us that we need to understand and integrate to achieve wholeness.
Okay, I'm hooked. What kind of archetypes are we talking about here? Give me some examples.
There are many, but let's focus on a few that might resonate with you. First, we have the king and queen, which often represent the union of opposites within the psyche.
Okay.
The king embodies the masculine principle, logic, action assertion, while the queen embodies the feminine intuition, emotion receptivity.
So it's not about literal genders, but the balance of these qualities within each of us.
Exactly.
Like we all have both masculine and feminine aspects regardless of our gender identity.
Exactly. And just like the alchemists sought to harmonize different elements,
Right.
we need to find that balance between our masculine and feminine energies to achieve inner harmony.
That's fascinating. It makes you think about how these seemingly opposing forces are actually complementary and essential for wholeness.
Right.
Okay, what other archetypes did Jung find hiding in these alchemical texts?
Another powerful one is the dragon.
The dragon.
Think about what dragons usually represent.
Okay.
Fire-breathing beasts, symbols of chaos and danger.
Right.
Well, Jung saw the dragon as a representation of the untamed shadow self.
Okay.
That primal, instinctual energy that can be both destructive and creative.
So like our primal instincts and urges that we often try to repress.
And it's not about labeling those instincts as good or bad,
right,
but about acknowledging and integrating this powerful force within us.
Okay.
Because the dragon, although fearsome, also holds immense potential for transformation.
So facing our inner dragons, those fears, those deep-seated desires, could actually be the key to unlocking our full potential.
Exactly. It's about harnessing that raw energy.
Okay.
And using it for growth and creativity.
Right.
Not letting it control us.
All right, so we've got the king and queen the dragon. Are there any other key archetypes we should know about?
Well, we can't talk about alchemical archetypes without mentioning the most famous one of all, the Philosopher's Stone.
Ah, yes, the ultimate goal of the alchemists, the elusive key to immortality and boundless wealth.
Yeah.
But what does it symbolize psychologically?
For Jung, the Philosopher's Stone wasn't just about literal immortality or riches.
Yeah.
It represented the ultimate goal of transformation.
Okay.
Achieving wholeness, realizing one's full potential. It's the goal of the individuation process.
So it's like our own personal Philosopher's Stone is the integration of all those different parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
The shadow, the masculine and feminine, the untamed dragon energy.
Yes.
Bringing it all together into a unified whole.
Precisely. It's about recognizing and accepting all those different facets of our being.
Okay.
Even the ones we might consider negative or undesirable.
Okay.
Because they all play a part in who we are.
This is all starting to click into place. It's amazing how these ancient symbols and stories can still speak to us today and offer such profound insights into the human experience.
And that's the beauty of archetypes.
Yeah.
They tap into something universal and timeless in the human psyche.
Right.
And Jung's genius was in recognizing their connection to alchemy, seeing it as a symbolic language for understanding the depths of our being.
It's like those alchemists were on a quest for self-discovery without even realizing it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And their insights filtered through Jung's lens are incredibly relevant even now, centuries later.
Exactly.
But this has been a lot to take in. I think we need a moment to digest all this and figure out what it all means for us in a practical sense.
You're absolutely right. We've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
And it's important to let these ideas sink in.
So in part 3, we're going to explore some of the practical implications of these ideas. And how they can help us navigate our own journeys of transformation, right?
We'll discuss how you can use these alchemical concepts to understand your own experiences.
Okay.
Make choices that align with your true self and ultimately move towards greater wholeness.
Okay, listeners, be sure to join us for part 3, where we'll continue this fascinating deep dive into Jung and alchemy and explore how you can become the alchemist of your own life. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all had a minute to process all that, those fascinating insights that we uncovered about Jung's interpretation of alchemy. Pretty amazing how those alchemists, in their quest to transform matter, stumbled upon a symbolic language for understanding the human psyche.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's even more amazing how relevant those insights are today.
Right.
We might not be mixing potions in a lab.
Right.
But we're all engaged in a kind of inner alchemy every day.
So in this final part of our deep dive, let's get practical.
Yeah.
How can we actually use these ancient alchemical ideas to navigate the complexities of modern life?
Right.
Because it all sounds great in theory.
Yeah.
But how do we actually apply these concepts to our own personal growth?
Well, Jung believed that the process of individuation, becoming a whole integrated self, is a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
It's not like you reach wholeness and then you're done.
You've arrived.
It's a continuous process of growth and transformation.
So it's more about constantly refining and integrating different parts of ourselves. Kind of like those alchemists experimenting with different substances and processes.
Exactly. And just like them, we can experiment with different approaches to personal growth. Like therapy, creative expression, spiritual practices.
Right.
Even just honest self-reflection can be tools in our own alchemical journey.
Absolutely.
What are some things you do consciously or unconsciously that help you grow and understand yourself better?
Well, I've definitely found that journaling helps me process my emotions and see patterns in my behavior.
Yeah.
And spending time in nature always seems to give me a fresh perspective on things.
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works for you
Right.
and being open to trying new things.
Yeah.
And remember those alchemical stages we talked about?
Yes.
Negredo, albedo, citrinitas rubeda.
I'm trying to keep them all straight.
Those aren't just abstract concepts. They can actually provide a framework for understanding your own experiences.
Can you give me an example of how those stages might play out in everyday life?
Think about a time when you went through like a major life change,
Okay.
like a job loss, a breakup,
Yeah.
or even a period of grief or illness
Right.
that could be seen as your own personal Nigredo experience.
Okay.
A time of darkness and uncertainty where you're forced to confront difficult emotions
Right.
and face those shadow aspects of yourself.
So even those painful, messy times can actually be part of the process.
Exactly.
It's like they're necessary for growth, even if they don't feel like it at the time.
It's about recognizing that darkness isn't something to be feared or avoided.
Okay.
It's an opportunity for transformation.
And as you work through those challenges and gain new insights,
Yeah.
you might move into an albedo phase where things start to feel a bit clearer.
Exactly. You're making peace with the past,
Right.
integrating those experiences into your understanding of yourself and starting to see a path forward.
So it's not about denying the darkness, but about finding the light that emerges from it.
Yes. And as you continue on your journey, you might experience those aha moments of citrinitas,
Okay.
those flashes of insight and spiritual awakening that give you a deeper sense of purpose and connection to something greater than yourself.
It's like all those pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together.
Right.
But isn't rubedo, that state of wholeness and integration, a lifelong pursuit?
Yeah.
Do we ever really fully achieve that philosopher's stone of complete wholeness?
That's a great question. And I think the beauty of it is that the journey itself is the reward.
Yeah.
It's about continually striving for greater self-awareness, understanding, and integration.
It's like we're all alchemists in a way.
Yeah.
Constantly experimenting, refining, and transforming ourselves. And even though we might never achieve some perfect state of golden wholeness, the process itself is what makes us richer and more complete.
That's a beautiful way to sum it up.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not about reaching some final destination,
Right.
but about the continuous process of growth and evolution.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. And I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on the challenges and triumphs of life.
Me too.
It's empowering to think that we all have the potential to be alchemists of our own lives,
Yeah,
turning those lead experiences into the gold of self-discovery and growth.
for sure.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
And I encourage everyone listening to delve deeper into Jung's work if you're feeling inspired.
Absolutely.
And to all our listeners out there, keep asking those big questions, keep exploring, and keep embracing the journey of becoming your most authentic whole self.
Couldn't have said it better myself.